In this video on Dorico 3.0, we are talking about guitar left and right hand fingering. Now, if you are not seeing any fingering, you may have a problem with the setting in your layout. So open up your layout options window. It should default to the layout you're working in. Go to Players, Fingering. Just make sure that the Show Fingering box is checked. It should be by default. Let's go ahead and hit Escape and get out of this. Here we have two guitar parts identical. As you can see, this one has been annotated with a bit of left and right hand fingering and some string numbers. Let's go through the process of adding some of the left and right hand fingering in this lower part. Before I get too far along, I want to note that I have my bass notes as voice 2 with the stems down. So when I make a selection in voice 2, it's going to go to the next note of that voice. Same with voice 1. We'll go through these eighth notes, jump the downbeat, and go to the next set of eighth notes. Let me select this C. And entering guitar fingering in Dorico is quite simple. Shift F gives you the popover. It defaults to the left hand where the letter L. If I do down arrow, it's the right hand. Up arrow, back to the letter L and left hand. Let me type in the number 3. I'm going to go ahead and hit my space bar. It jumps me to the next event. I'll type in 3 again. I'll use my right arrow. Hit the number 2. Use my right arrow again. Hit the number 3. At any time, if I need to go back, the left arrow does that, or hold down Shift key and then add the space bar. Let me hit Escape. I'm going to go to the next note here. Selecting this note, Shift F. And let me just type in this first measure here. So I've got 0, spacebar, 4, spacebar, 0, spacebar, 0, spacebar, and 0, spacebar. Navigate down now to my chord at the very end here. And let's talk about how to enter multiple fingerings at once. You can separate your fingerings by a comma. So here I want 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1. And I'm entering from the lowest note to the highest note. Hit Escape, and I've got this taken care of. A little easier to see if I click out of it. There you go. Let's go ahead and add some left hand fingering. Back to my C. Shift F. Down arrow to get my right hand fingering. I can type in for a thumb either the letter P or T. Here's the letter T. Spacebar moves me to the next event. Here's the letter P. Right arrow, letter T, right arrow again, letter P. They all end up with the same look, which is this P down here. We'll talk about how to change that font and location here shortly. Let's add some more to the first measure here. I'm going to select the G. Shift F, down arrow, I spacebar, A spacebar, I spacebar, A spacebar, I spacebar. And I'm going to navigate all the way down to the end now. And let me type in my right hand fingering. Again, lowest pitch to highest pitch separated by commas. So it's going to be I, M, A, Escape, and I'm done. Let's talk about overriding some of Dorico's defaults. I don't like where the letter I is here, and I have to change this in engrave mode. So Command 3 on the Mac gets me there. I'm going to select the letter I. And I find it easiest and most accurate to actually use the key command. I'm holding down Option or Alt on the PC and my up arrow. And with your arrows and the Option key held down, you can move up and down, left and right, based on the direction of the arrow. All right, Command 2 brings me back to right mode. As long as we're dealing with right hand fingering, let's go over here and talk about moving the fingering above the staff or below the staff. Let me select the letter P here. I'm going to navigate through my Properties panel to Plucked Fingering. In here, we can edit the letter. We can also change its vertical position. If I turn this on, it automatically defaults to above the staff. And we have choices of below the staff or next to note. Let's go back to below the staff. We can also override fingering down here. You can see finger or position. So I could type in 4, for example. Hit return, and I've changed a 3 to a 4. And of course, with Dorico, there are a large number of choices for your look. Let's go into engraving options, Shift Command E on the Mac, and I'm going down to fingering. And one thing we can look at here is our choice between the default bold font or plain font. If we hit plain font, and let me move this out of the way, and I'm going to hit apply here by hitting return, you can see everything changes. Now, if we want to change the look of this, we can now go into the fingering text font style, which we'll get to in just a moment. So here we're in design, we're in substitutions. Not all of this applies to guitar, but a lot does. Shared fingerings. As we get through here, you can see we have things like advanced options on some of these. And yet again, another field of choices. on how to change your look. Far, far more than I can cover in this short tutorial, but you can see Dorico gives you a lot of choices to work with. Let me hit escape and get out of this. As always, thanks for watching. Hope to catch you on the next video where I'll be talking about string numbering and creating a slide.